My name is Dan. My opponent claims that the state of California should legalize marijuana. He claims that the state would first financially benefit through taxation of marijuana, and second, that the legalization of marijuana would free state resources needed elsewhere. My opponent's first claim is that the legalization and taxation of marijuana brought about by California Assembly Bill 390 would create tax revenues that would help extricate California from the current financial depression. In 1996, the usage of medical marijuana was made legal by California Proposition 215. However, my opponent seems to have left out that marijuana of all types, medical or otherwise, is and still would be illegal on a federal level. Even if California were to legalize it for general purposes, the Supremacy Clause, Article 6, Paragraph 2 of the United States Constitution clearly states that judges must enforce federal laws above the laws or constitution of individual states. Therefore, federal laws always supersede state laws. In 2000, federal agents arrested and convicted Ed Rosenthal, now known as the Ganja Guru, who previously had been deputized by the city of Oakland to grow marijuana for medical uses. Since then, Rosenthal has filed numerous appeals. In 2007, Rosenthal was arrested again and convicted of growing and conspiracy to distribute. Predictably, this was followed by numerous expensive appeals. The previously mentioned situation is just one example dealing with one man belonging to a small group of people licensed to grow medical marijuana. How much money do you suppose he alone has cost the state of California in legal costs? If California would legalize the growth and consumption of marijuana for general purposes, how much money gained from taxation would escape the onslaught of legal fees generated by every pothead who now feels entitled to grow their own stash? My opponent's second claim is that the legalization of marijuana would free police resources. This is untrue. In 1933, prohibition was repealed. 76 years later, task forces of police are still employed in finding and destroying illegal stills and arresting the people operating them. Why are police still locking up people 76 years later? They're still locking people up 76 years later because no taxes are paid on illegal alcohol. The government generates a great deal of revenue through taxation on alcohol, so it's in their best interest to shut down illegal stills that avoid taxation. Since California Assembly Bill 390 proposes many taxes on the sale and distribution of marijuana, you can be sure that the big and small growing operations alike will still continue to grow illegal marijuana to avoid paying the taxes, and that the police will still continue to try to catch them and destroy the legal marijuana. My opponent said that sex offender living on the end of your block is a direct result of the sheer volume of people being sent to prison due to marijuana. As mentioned before, marijuana will still be illegal on a federal level, and California judges will be obligated to follow federal law and continue to send even more people to prison, only compounding the problem. The legalization of marijuana in California will not help our financial situation. Instead, it has every potential of making it worse. The speculated release of resources would most likely remain exactly where they are. The legalization of marijuana in California is a very bad idea and will continue to be so until federal marijuana laws are changed. That's it.
All right, the points are labeled pretty clearly. The signpost on the first point as you're getting into it is okay. Basically, you're arguing would be kind of a workability argument on a policy claim because of federal laws basically rendering any advantage moot. And I think in a larger context that might be true. I think there are better, I don't want to say better, there are more specific arguments to be made about the advocate's claims than this one. Although this one is relevant, it's really more important in a larger policy context. Maybe that's part of the problem, is that the advocate's point is in part a policy issue. Let me see. Oh, and the example that you had with Rosenthal, I thought that was a pretty good example illustrating some of the issues continuing to plague the state because of the federal supremacy law. I thought that was a pretty good illustration on that point. Transition, the second point was very clear. The argument about the pursuit of illegal stills, I think, needs to be developed. We need some examples that, in fact, that's going on, that there is an effort, a continuing effort by people to bypass tariffs and taxes and those sorts of things by producing alcohol illegally. That's kind of an assertion on your part, and I think that some data there would have made that argument a little bit stronger. And then finally, your argument about the criminals, being, because of the resources and the way they're distributed, that we've got bad criminals being out there in the jails full of marijuana users, for instance. You make an argument that you didn't think the resource distribution would change at all, excuse me, but it's primarily related to the same issue of federal supremacy, and I didn't think that there was as much analysis on that point as there needed to be. It seems to me that there are also some real practical arguments to be made on this issue that you miss an opportunity on. The vast majority, for instance, of marijuana users don't go to prison. It's primarily dealers that end up in that situation. So the question then becomes, are those dealers really people that we shouldn't be worried about? Are they not the serious kinds of criminals that, like the pedophile down the street that is mentioned in the example? So I think that you miss an opportunity to maybe develop some more concrete arguments on that point. All right, thank you.